retired at this current time, but I'm planning to come back to teach this program. I was the director of the Asian term for a number of years, and I've taught with Mari at least 4 times now in Japan. I think that's the count. And the last time we did a 2020 Japan J term, and it went really well. And you'll hear from some of our students talk about that. But we have great things planned, a few changes from the last time because we listened to what people said. And we're really excited to invite you to do this. So I'll turn it over to Mari.
Hi, I'm Mari Nagase. I mostly teach Japanese language classes on campus and some Japanese literature class. And I co-host this session, but also we are Dr. Marsha Smith and I are the co-directors of Japan JTERM program. And we had one program in 2020, we very successful. And really we are looking forward to travel with students again next academic year. Okay, Amber, Eva, Maya, would you introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Amber Henke. I'm a senior here at Augustana, and I'm double majoring in anthropology and women and gender studies. And I went on the Japan J-term trip last time, and I was in Dr. Smith's section.
Hi, I'm Eva Vucic. I am a senior. I am a chemistry biology double major, and I also went on the Japan trip with Amber, but I was in Dr. Nagase's class.
Hi, my name is Maya. I am a junior. I'm studying international business and Asian studies with a Japanese minor, and I went on the Japan J-term 2020 with Dr. Nagase.
Okay, so at the end, you can ask questions and you hear students' experience from these 3 students later. But first, let's talk about the program itself, the basics. So our Japan J-term program offers 2 courses. One is JPST 250, Japanese Culture and Society course, and Sociology 323, population issues and society, and we talk about more details later. Eligibility, as long as you are now freshman and maintain the 2.0 GPA, you are qualified. And no language is required. And you can only enroll in one course, just like a J-term course on campus. And each course carries 4 credits. And the program cost is 4,200, but this is tentative. You know, post-COVID world, we don't know how the airplane tickets price goes up and so on, but we want to keep this price as it is. OGI choice is eligible if you are junior or senior students next academic year. And this program fee includes airfare, ground transportation in Japan, lodging excursions and international travel, health insurance, and about 25 group meals. But it doesn't include individual meals. And if you go for a side trip by yourselves, then that's not included. And you probably buy a lot of souvenirs. Of course, it's not covered. We estimate that it would probably cost, you probably need about $400 for individual meals. You can go much cheaper, you can go much higher, more expensive too. So out of pocket estimate is there, as you see, 500 to 800.
So I want to say one thing here, even though you're in 2 different classes, actually we can room together, we travel together, we do a lot of the sightseeing together, and of course we let you do things individually as groups and everything. So you know, most people chose their courses last time based on the who they knew and what they were interested in and what kind of gen ed requirements they needed. So, but it's pretty flexible, and I hope the students will share that with you. Okay, next slide, Mari.
Okay, so itinerary. Well, you probably see Japan looks like it, and where we go is basically our bases are Kyoto and Tokyo. we stay in Kyoto about a week, and in Tokyo, a bit over 10 days. And we start our journey from Kyoto. And Kyoto is old capital of Japan. It was the capital of Japan from like 9th century to 19th century for 1,000 years. And there, we also make side trips to like Nara. Nara is even an older capital in like 7th, 8th century. And we also visit Osaka. It's also another day trip. Osaka is the second largest city in Japan. And on the way to Tokyo, we'll stop at a small town. The first stop is Inuyama, 2 nights. It's a small town that fewer foreign. Marsha, do you want to say something about Kyoto?
I just wanted to say we're also going to go to Takarazuka, and we're going to go see Takarazuka play there. So that's always an exciting thing for our students. So let's move on to Inuyama.
Okay, so in Inuyama, it's a small town and fewer foreign visitors there. And we really wanted to have that you and also local people in Inuyama, especially young kids, want to interact with foreign tourists, well, foreign people like you. So we'll visit the junior high school in Inuyama. That would be the main attraction, I think, main purpose. But at the same time, it's a pretty small town. Masha, you want to add something?
Yes, that's where Mari went to school, so everybody knows her there. So we'll get a warm welcome. And you'll get to live life as a junior high student, which is, I think our students really enjoyed that the last time. Okay.
Okay, and then from, well, on the way from Inuyama to Tokyo, we'll stop in Nagano. The reason is that actually the Japan's land, 75% of land is forested area, mountainous area. Although cities like Tokyo, Kyoto, Osaka, well, Inuyama is the edge of this plain, but like Nagoya, all the big cities are developed in those flat areas. But 75% of Japan is forested, and we want you to see that another typical landscape of Japan. So we'll go through mountainous area. We'll stay a night in hotel or traditional Japanese inn so that you can experience hot spring. And Nagano also has very interesting sites. One is Matsumoto Castle, one of the 5 nationally treasured castles. And there is Zenkoji Temple, and that's from like 6th century. And snow monkeys, that's popular. Masha, want to add?
I just want to say we're going to try and find ryokan or onsen. That's in a really beautiful place, so you have a really nice experience. And hopefully we can find one near where the snow monkeys are, but can't say for sure. There's also a ninja museum and a bunch of other interesting places to see. So we think it's probably a little more educational and more, different than Takayama for those of you who went last time. So it's a bit of a shift in our itinerary, but it doesn't change what we're teaching very much. Okay, on to Tokyo.
So Japan is really a volcanic island. Like there are over 100 active volcanoes. So there are onsen everywhere, especially in the mountainside, not the flat areas. And Nagano has many onsens. So we can definitely experience the onsen and even monkeys too. And from there, we'll go to Tokyo bus. And in Tokyo, well, it's a capital of Japan, mega city. And we'll stay in area called Yoyogi, actually Shibuya Ward, and it's nicely located. It's close to Shibuya, it's close to Shinjuku, really central area of Japan. Masha?
Yes, and when we're there, we will also go to Kabuki Theater, so you can compare and contrast that with Takarazuka, which is all women's review. Kabuki is more traditional, all men participate that, so that's interesting for both of our classes. And you have a lot of free time to explore. I'll send you out into neighborhoods to look at different things. Okay.
Masha?
On to the next. Here are some sights of Kyoto. So you can see some of the places we may choose to visit. You can see some of the temples, some of the shrines, some of the activities. Kyoto is exciting because it was one of the few places that wasn't bombed by the United States during World War II. So many things remained. Where we're staying is a great location. And when we're there, we'll be able to watch Kendo, which is a sword fighting, and you'll get to practice that probably when we are in the next place. So it's very traditional, it's very beautiful. It's what you always hoped Japan might be. Mari, do you want to say anything? Okay, here's some side trips we'll take. So you'll see us and Nari. In Nari, there are sacred deer, so you'll be able to meet the deer. There's one of the largest wooden Buddha in Japan is there at Todaiji. And then the theater you'll love. And of course, the river that runs through is really nice. Mari, anything? Nope. Okay, let's move on. So Inuyama, Nagano. Inuyama we went to last time. Inuyama is Mari's hometown when she was growing up. We'll get to see the schools. You'll see the school teachers there. We'll get to see perhaps one of the temples or one of the castles there. We'll see another castle later. So we'll have some great experiences there. And then later on in Nagano, we'll definitely go to an onsen. Hopefully we'll find an onsen that has both indoor and outdoor, because for me, I think that's really better than just indoor, especially in the winter. And hopefully it'll snow while you're in the hot springs. That's always fun. And we'll have delicious Chinese traditional onsen meal that's really delicious.
Japanese onsen meal.
Yeah, they're great. Japanese onsen, they're really nice. Okay. Next. Mari, next one. You want to say anything else? Why don't you introduce Tokyo? Your turn.
Okay. So we stay at the National Olympic Center in Yoyogi. They are now in under renovation, so I hope the facilities becomes better next year. And it's really walking distance to major shrine. It's wooded area. It's like an oasis in a city, jungle city of like concrete jungle in Tokyo, and it's close to Shinjuku. Because there's like city buildings, and there's a notorious Kabukicho, and this is a Shibuya area, famous crossroad, and we'll visit our partner school and Kabuki theater too. And hopefully you want to play karaoke with me.
For me.
Masha?
Yeah.
Yeah, yes. You should sing.
And if we're lucky, I hope Mari's mom will introduce us to a senior center where you can talk to senior citizens who want to practice English, but our students like that. And perhaps we can also go to hibachi. So we'll see some of people's work lives. We'll see college students, and we'll see elderly while we're in Tokyo. So Tokyo provides a lot of things for us. Okay.
Okay, next we'll introduce our courses.
Okay, so mine's the first class listed. So what I look at are population issues and how they impact society. So we'll look at the population distribution in Japan. Japan is one of the most demographically oldest countries in the world. And so how they deal with their elderly is very interesting. How they deal with their families. Most people that live in Japan live in urban areas. So we're mostly in urban areas, but we'll also see some rural areas so you can see the difference. We'll look at people at every stage of life. So we'll look at what happens in junior high schools. We'll see what happens in colleges. We'll see what happens in work life. We'll see what happens when you're aging. And we'll look at the economic impact and sort of how culture, everyday culture in Japan links with the nature and the size of the population. So my class, it offers you a PS, a G, and it's 4 credits. Mari, your class.
Okay, so my class carries PH and G, and for places. So both Dr. Smith's course and my course covers general education. Okay, so this is a 200 course, and it rather covers Japanese culture and society broadly. And it includes different topics, and each topic connects to the activities we do at each site. For example, in Kyoto, you learn about different religions, beliefs in Japan, and you visit the temples and shrines and see the difference. Or you read about the Japanese food culture, and then we discuss it in class, and then you really go to the traditional Japanese market. You are forced to eat something new. You enjoy it, and then you make a presentation. So, for example, another example would be anything, but for example, you learn about the Japanese corporate culture, and then we talk about it. You create interview questions, and we'll visit one Japanese company. You interview them, and then you write a short paper. So there are a variety of topics, and you learn different things, and you read and learn, you discuss it in the classroom, and then you visit the sites or you interact with people, and you learn by combining class learning and then really visiting the sites and talking with the people. So that's a good thing of a study abroad program. Okay, so next.
And we okay, this is one thing. We work our class together, so whatever class you're in, you do cover some of the key components. So we talk about education system in both classes. We talk about gender in both classes. So you won't miss anything by choosing one or the other because the field trips are all the same. And a lot of the discussion is relatively similar, although the readings may be different, focusing on different lenses of how to look at those things. Okay.
All right,
on
next,
to you, Mari.
we would like you,
Next.
Amber and Eva and Maya, to talk about your experience and share your experience and encourage those students to join the program. So Amber, please.
Yeah, so for me, I'm an anthropology and women gender studies major, like I mentioned. So taking Dr. Smith's class allowed me to see like how Japan is addressing the elderly population and what they do to adapt to that. And then also for me too, I was able to take what I've learned at Augustana and the different methods of analysis that I've learned. So I can put that to like what I was seeing and experiencing in Japan. So it was kind of like a little ethnographic, anthropological like field work, and I was nerding out about that. It was super fun to me. And then I was also able to see like the gender and the gender role differences between like Japan and then the United States. And then it was also interesting to see like a more collectivist society because the United States is like a super individualistic society. So all those like different aspects were like really interesting to see. And then I would say like my favorite locations that we went to would probably be Kyoto, Nara, and Shirakawa because I love the outdoors and the nature there is so peaceful. And then the little fancy bowing deer too, they're really sacred, are also like really cute. And then I think another aspect for me that I love was the free time and like the flexibility and like the free days that we were able to get, because there's a lot of free days where we were able to like pick where we wanted to go. And so I had a couple of locations on my bucket list, like the Bamboo Forest and then the Studio Ghibli Museum. So I was able to like go to those on like my free days, and that was super, super fun because I know some of my other friends who did different J-term abroads, they didn't have as much free time and like as many days where they could pick and like do what they want to do. So I really enjoyed that aspect of this class.
Thank you, Eva.
Hello, everyone. So overall, this was one of the most amazing trips I've ever went on through Augie. You might be thinking, why would a chemistry biology major want to go to Japan? Part of that reason is because I spent most of my college career studying Spanish. So I learned a lot about Spanish culture and that society, but then I wanted to branch out and learn something new. And I thought on a whim, Japan sounds amazing because it's something I've never learned before, something I've never experienced. And that's kind of the whole point of studying abroad, right? Like get out of your comfort zone. And I chose Dr. Nagase's class because I really wanted to learn more about the culture and the religion there. We kind of live in a society here where you can ask someone, what's your religion? And that's a very big factor in their identity. But in Japan, the religious aspect is a lot more mixed. Like you don't have to say you're one religion or the other. And people, we learned like if you ask someone what's your religion, they get kind of confused because they don't see religion as a like concrete, like specific single thing. You can practice multiple religions there. And I thought that was amazing. So there's people who go to Buddhist temples and people who go to pray at the Shinto temples. And I thought that was awesome. Like I've never been or really heard of a society where religions mixed well together like that. And overall, like being able to go on this trip and actually interact with Japanese people was one of my favorite things. It wasn't like you were in the shoes of a tourist and you kind of just look around and see what's going on. You actually had chances to talk to the elderly, go meet students. I was sick for the day that people went to the university, but I heard like wonderful experiences from just meeting other students, both in lower academic levels and higher academic levels. So on top of that, and like just learning everything, I would say the workload of that course was very, very manageable. And there was a lot of free time where you really could go, like Amber said, like anywhere you really wanted. And she also mentioned Ghibli Museum. I brought this because I bought a little souvenir from there. And another thing is that what I think was really interesting from this trip is we kind of went there and came back at a really, really opportune time, because when we came back to the US, coronavirus just flew up. So it's funny because now I have Tokyo Olympics 2020 souvenirs and the Olympics didn't even happen. So I don't know what to do with these. But overall, if you're looking for a trip where you get to find something new, where you want to get out there and have a really immersive experience, this is the trip to go. Because you're not going to just be studying the whole time. You're not going to be sitting in a room. You're going to be out there. You're going to be trying to talk to people and fail. You're going to be with your phone using Google Translate. But it's so, so worth it. If you really want to go study abroad, this is a really good program to choose. And that's all. I could keep talking forever, so I'm going to stop here.
Well, thank you, Eva. I do have that Tokyo Olympic 2020 holder as well. It will be valuable in years. Okay, Maya, would you talk about your experience?
Yeah, so I chose Dr. Nagase's class because I was interested in Asian studies and then also learning Japanese language. And that same year as that we went on the trip was my first year of Japanese. So I was kind of excited because I wanted to kind of test out how much I knew from classes. But on the trip, you get to learn so much about like how each tradition or traditional like the culture, the traditions that they have in Japan, each have like a certain value to them. And like when we got to do a tea ceremony in Nara, and that was just amazing because you can feel like how much kind of energy and spirit goes into the ceremony. So it's kind of interesting to see like how much it means to these people. And the whole religion thing too, like that was a huge thing that I was like, wow, like really interested in. But I have to say, the trip, you get to meet a lot of people from both classes, and it really pulls everyone together. Like we're together for a whole month, and it might not seem long enough to be together, but it is, because we all came back still in contact with each other, even if we're different majors. We definitely got to hang out with each other for our free time, and each class has like a huge amount of free time to where you can actually get more bonding time with each other. We got to meet some Japanese folk in Nishiki Market in Kyoto. when you're like at the stores, like they want to kind of reach out to you too, and they try to talk to you in English. And if you're learning Japanese, they'll definitely be surprised. It's like all I said was, how much is this in Japanese? And they're like, whoa. So it's such a memorable trip. It was my first time abroad, and it was the very first time abroad, very first country I went to, besides Canada. But Canada is like in the North America. It's not too far. So, but I would definitely say that this trip with both professors and then whoever you meet on the trip, you'll make a lot of friends. And when you come back, you'll definitely want to go back. So especially like when I came back, I was like, I have to go back. So yeah, Eva. But I think the most memorable places that we went to, for me, was Kyoto, Nara, and Takayama. And Kyoto has Fushimi Inari, which has the torii gates, like the red torii gates. That place is so beautiful, and it has the bamboo forest. And then Takayama was such a homey kind of feel. It was a quiet little area with a nice morning market, and you could see the mountains in the back, and it was so pretty. And yeah, it's definitely something you want to take advantage of in this experience. So
Thank you, Maya. By the way, so yeah, three of them emphasizing free time. Since Bedford from the international office is here, so I need to mention this. We do teach classes too. So typically, we have classes in the morning. By the way, you have a whole free day, Sundays. The other days we do something together, but typically we have morning classes, and sometimes we have activities together in the afternoon. But a good thing in Japan is that Japan is safe. So after the early afternoon activity together finished, you can explore on your own without feeling scared, even at night. So I think the one reason students feel that they had a lot of free time is because the time that you can be out by yourself is long compared to countries where you feel a little scared to go out at night by yourself. So that might be the reason. Marcia, would you like to add something?
And I would say, yeah, my classes also had field trips where they were supposed to go out and explore and then come back with information. So they were encouraged to go out in groups or, and find things out. And the other thing is we did a lot of front loading of reading. So I had students in my class who read everything before they left and wrote all their papers for the class. There were a lot of papers before they left, and just turned them in each day. And they came and talked about what they read over their papers, turned them in. So the workload in Japan wasn't as heavy as it could have been. Yes, we had class, we talked about everything that we read, but truthfully, at least half my class read a lot of that stuff before they ever stepped foot in Japan. And that made it easier for them to have time to do what they wanted to do. So just wanted to say that. Okay, should we open up for questions from anybody? And if you have a question, please unmute yourself so we can hear it. Well, if you have more questions, you can email us either at marciasmith@augustana.edu. Even though I've retired, I still have my same email, or marinagase@augustana.edu. And we'll be willing to share that. And I think Beth is recording this so people can watch this at a later date if they're interested in any of the things. So if you have questions that we haven't addressed, feel free to ask us.